It's kind of an overcast day actually, and I'm shooting a match, but you're not watching a match video today. You're watching a review. I've had this for a while now. It is the CZ P10F Competition. We've got probably about 5,000 rounds through this thing now, and I figured we'd do something a little bit different with the review, not just a standard range review. We're actually going to be shooting this in the match and reviewing it at the same time, so let's get to work. Hey guys, Andrew here. Welcome back to Work the Trigger. So, you might be asking yourselves why I have decided to do this review this way, and that's because so many of these reviews aren't done in a way that people are actually shooting the guns. They take them out, they get 500,000 rounds through them, and they call it a day. I wanted to show you guys I have had way more experience with this thing. I've been shooting this thing in matches for about a year and a half now, and I almost didn't shoot it today. The reason I almost didn't shoot it today is because, you know, variety is fun, but also I wasn't sure. The last time I was shooting matches really well, I was using a SIG P320 X5 Legion, super long name, and I was doing really good. So I took the Legion out to compare it to this a couple of days ago at the range, and what I found was, in spite of the Legion's increased weight, it's got a reworked trigger, it's got an even more reduced recoil spring, it's got an extended takedown that acts as a thumb rest. With all of that, the P10 Competition still shot better. So here we are at the match. We're shooting the P10F Competition Ready. Also way too long of a name. So let's get shooting the next one and we'll cover a little bit more.
After you're finished, unload it, so clear.
It was probably okay. So the P10F Competition falls interestingly between a lot of other guns. Specifically, the two that I like to compare to are the SIG P320 X5 Legion and the Glock 34. Now with the P10s, I have always said that, goes for the entire line, they shoot like 15 to 20% better than their comparable Glock. So that means, like, for the P10C, the Glock 19, P10C shoots about 15-20% better. Same goes for the P10F and the Glock 17, and the same goes for the P10F Competition, which I can't take out of the holster because we're in a match, and the Glock 34. The P10F tracks a little bit better, capacity is a little bit more, stock sights are a little bit better, and the optics mounting plate system is better. Now, as for the Legion is interesting because the Legion gives you the ability to tune, and tuning is fantastic when you're out here shooting. That being said, as I said earlier, I took the Legion out and it didn't shoot as good for me. Now, the one place where the Legion and the Glock do have upper hands is with hand-loaded ammo. When you hand-load ammo, the dimensions are a little bit different. Typically speaking, those projectiles are shaped a little bit differently, sit out a little bit further. It's a lot of variables. The barrels in both the Glock and the SIG significantly lower tolerance, so you can shoot a more various number of hand-loaded rounds. With the P10 here, it seems to have the same chamber specs as like the Shadow 2. And CZs are notorious for having a very short throat. The distance between the end of the case and where the rifling starts. Significantly shorter, making it a little bit more picky as far as hand loads go. Let's go shoot another stage and we'll cover a little bit more.
Pretty good, nice. Solid. If you are finished,
so P10s in general track pretty well. The extended slide of the P10 Competition, dropping rounds all over the place. Ugh. Well, it just makes it better. It tracks better, it recoils better. It's just a predictable gun. That combined with the, what I think is better grip texturing of the P10 versus the SIG or the Glock, and you just end up getting a little bit quicker, a little bit faster, and that's what the name of the game is with this thing, because remember, this thing is a competition gun. It says it right in the name. Can't really play it off like some of the other ones that say, we're not really competition, we're just kind of have some of the features. No, this one is meant for this. Now, I did want to mention, mine, bone stock at this point, and the comparison that I was making earlier against the 320, it's a modified 320, and I still think the P10F comes out on top. Let's hit the next stage. Now I'm all messed up. What? Oh! What the heck? There we go. What the?
Finish, unload until clear.
Guys, so I'm glad that you were with us for that, because that is the first malfunctions that our P10 has had. Now, I do have a bit of a disclaimer here. I have not lubed this since I ran it the first time. Haven't cleaned it. It is a dirty beast. So we're sitting around 5,000 rounds here, and that's where we're seeing our first errors here. Now, let me take a look. My guess is that we had a weak cycle because it's dirty. Here I can show you guys that nosedived round. Let me see if I can get that to focus in there. You can see that it nosedived that thing right up into that feed ramp. So I'm thinking that we were just getting low velocity on that. So we're just gonna lube the ever-loving crap out of it. And we're gonna see what it does. Hopefully you can see that it is really dry in there. And I intentionally do this with my guns that I'm testing because I want to see how long they can run dirty. So again, this thing's 5,000 rounds or so. It is, you can see here, it is a dirty guy. We're gonna go ahead and lube it back up. We're just using some CLP from Lube the Gun. I'm not being like overly nice about how I'm putting this in. I just want to get it wetted back up. Get all of our slide points, our contact points lubed back up. It's probably the rails. So we're just gonna get the rails lubed up. Get the inside of this thing wet again. Let's toss her back together. Now, the barrel on these is this gold-plated barrel. It's just, I think it's just titanium nitride. Really, it's just for looks. It doesn't, it's not as good of a titanium nitride as some other, some of the aftermarket companies gives you. It does do a good job. Like, it's gonna clean off pretty well. But we're not gonna clean it because we're in the middle of a match. So we're just gonna toss this bad boy back together. Little bit more lube in there. Get our recoil assembly back on here. Let's go ahead and get this thing back together. Okay, sounds like we are back in action. Let's go ahead and take care of that. We're gonna see if that fixed our malfunction issues. If it did, it'll be pretty obvious. We've got 2 stages left today. So we've got our classifier that's over here, and then we've got another stage over there. Once we're done with all of those, we'll be able to kind of round this thing out. So far, again, first malfunctions we're seeing are at about 5,000 rounds. Had 2 of them in 1 stage. Both of them were nosedives. I think we just weren't getting enough reciprocation in there. The brass wasn't coming out fully, and then it was nosediving those rounds in. Typically, that just means your velocities are kind of low. So let's go ahead and keep going. We'll hit this stage. We'll see if that solved our problem. Woo!
755. Shoot ready. Stand by. 755.
So the good news is, I think that I fixed our problem with a little bit of lubrication. That is always good. The bad news is, that was bad shooting on my side. So we have 1 more stage to go today, and then we will round out this interesting little review process with some final thoughts. Almost.
Woo! You're finished. Unload is so clear.
So as we finish up our match and we head out, we can reflect a little bit on the P10F competition. Pros of the P10F competition. We've got a gun that handles excellently. It is insanely accurate. That is one of the things that it definitely has over the Glock and the SIG is accuracy, groupings. It is just more accurate of a gun. The P10, again, same with that. The P10F competition, I would expect no less from, and it doesn't do less. It is a little bit less accurate than the normal P10F. The reason is because they did open up the chamber a little bit to assist with running some other loads, but it wasn't enough to do the deed so that you could run pretty much anything. They are still pretty restrictive. That would be in the con section. A couple other pros is you do get 3 magazines with the P10F competition. It comes with the gold base pads. They are 19 round magazines, not extended though. That is 19 full length, so you can toss a +3 on there and get 22 rounds pretty easily. The plate system for the optics on the P10F competition is a standard P10F plate, which is, in my opinion, one of the best plate systems. It has a cross-based mounting system, which keeps the plates settled really solidly. There's no forward or aft movement or side to side. You're gonna get a really nice lockup. The ergonomics of the P10F competition are standard P10F ergonomics, which are typically pretty good. For people with large hands, like larger than average hands, you might find the length of pull a little bit short. The throat on the back of the beaver tail is a little bit short. It allows you to grip up really high. However, it also makes that length of pull short, so you might have to choke up or grip it a little different if you have big hands. Another downside to the P10F competition is that you are looking at a gun that has less support than both the SIG and the Glock. It's gonna be harder to find holsters, it's gonna be harder to find magazines, it's gonna be harder to find spare parts. But with 5,000 rounds through ours and the malfunctions that we've seen coming here at 5,000 rounds, oddly enough, in a match, that is malfunctions not induced by bad ammo, I would say you're doing pretty well. So I kind of gave my opinion of the P10F competition away a little bit earlier in the video when I said that I had actually taken the SIG Legion out to compare the two and figure out which one I wanted to shoot in the match today, and that the P10 won, and that's when I kind of realized I hadn't actually done a full review on it. The other and the last kind of big downfall of the P10F competition is the price. You are looking at SIG Legion prices for it. The Glock 34 is $100, a couple $100 less. You can get into a Canic for a ton less because the P10 does come in around $1,000. That being said, it's a freaking awesome gun. With the P10F competition, you get an HBI Theta trigger, you get extended controls, and that fancy gold barrel. Now, is that all worth $1,000? Not really. You could get a P10F and do most of that and still be significantly under $1,000. However, you're also getting an extra half-inch of barrel. That extra half-inch of barrel does make a change, does make it shoot a little bit quicker, recoil faster, without adding so much weight as like the SIG Legion to make things like transitions difficult. So in my book, between all of those guns, even taking the Canic in there, I would choose the P10F. I have medium-sized hands. I don't have an issue with the size problems. It is a fast transitioning, very accurate gun, and that's why I highly suggest it. So thanks guys for watching. If you like this video, do me a favor and hit that like button down below. If you like it and you want to see more, hit that subscribe button. If you want to support the channel, don't do all that Patreon stuff. Go over to Variant Innovation, see if you can find something on there. Head over to Harry's Holsters for all your holster needs, or head to Link's Defense if you're looking for a gun case. Thanks guys, I appreciate every one of you, and until next time, do your research, get informed, and get to work.